I absolutely agree. It ought to be set for 4 years when that person enters college.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
I believe we have to do something to control the cost. That may be one of the ways to do it, but certainly you look at this. We're 48th in the country when it comes to the number of students that go from high school to college, and guess what? We're 47th in the nation in per capita income. So I think we have to do something to restrict the growth.
Mr. Bashir.
It's an idea worth considering, but we can only consider it if we finally fully fund our universities and our colleges. That's what the problem has been all along. You know, we have underfunded our universities and colleges so long that they have to raise money somehow, and they've raised their tuition. So if we'll fund our universities and colleges, then we should look at that.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
I'll go one further. How about if there was a program out there that you could lock in the price of tomorrow's tuition at today's prices, even if your child is 7?
What about those who aren't in that program, though? For Ms. Cash, if she's not in that program, should she pay the same tuition as a senior as she does as a freshman in college?
I'd like to see all of our children be able to have an opportunity to have a program where you can lock in the price of tomorrow's tuition, just like our CAP program that we started in a few years ago.
Thank you, Mr.
Absolutely. I think that the price should not change while the person is in college, and I would certainly, with our COG grant, try to raise the amount of money going to that 13%. Only 13% of the money going from the lottery money goes to those people who really need it, and we would double that and help those people stay in college.
Thank you, Mr. Lunsford.
Well, this is clearly laid out in our blueprint for change, that we lock it in for 4 years. It's a contract. Two things it does. One is for 4 years they have the same price. Second is it keeps them from hanging around, as many of us parents know about. Plus, I think you need to limit by cost of living increases. Why should everybody else be subject to that and our higher universities not be?
Thank you, Mr. Henry. You can take this one first. University of Kentucky just signed a new contract with a basketball coach to pay him a minimum of $2.5 million a year. Could be more than $3 million a year with incentives. Does that set a bad example when universities are having trouble keeping professors because they can't afford to pay professors? Is that too much to pay a college basketball coach?
Well, I have great concerns about that situation. I mean, I can't say anything more. I mean, we have tremendous funding issues, and here we are paying those coaches.
Is that too much to pay a coach?
Outrageous. Well, I think it's getting pretty high. I mean, I know a lot of those dollars are from corporate sponsorships as well, but I think it's setting a bad precedent, to be honest with you.
Mr. Bashir?
Sure, it's too much to pay a coach, but we're all doing it, and we all want to win. And so that's what's happening to college basketball these days. It is professional now. It's semi-pro basketball. I don't know why we don't finally just step out and admit it and maybe earn some income off of it instead of carrying on like we do.
Thank you. Mr. Miller?
Yes, it's too much. Let's pay them a good living, and let's put the rest of the money in bucks for brains.
Mr. Richards?
Yes, it's too much. It sets a wrong precedent, especially when other professors are underpaid at many of our colleges and universities.
Mr. Lunsford?
Well, I think everybody would agree it's a steep ticket for a basketball coach. Unfortunately, you know, we live in a society where market dictates, and market has dictated that, not driven by the University of Kentucky, driven by a lot of other universities. And I would say most University of Kentucky fans, Louisville fans, Western Kentucky fans, most of them will tell you that the most important thing to them is to have competitive basketball, right or wrong.
And Lee Todd said he was raising the football tickets price because of the putting out a much better improved product over the past years. My question to him, is he going to drop the basketball tickets now, given the state of the program?
Mr. Bashir, one of the issues at the recent session of the General Assembly was domestic partners.